up, randos?
Hello.
Welcome in to Fandom at Random E3 edition.
2021.
And welcome to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ed. That is Brian. We are happy to have you back today. And a very happy Father's Day for all of you randos out there that are dads or no dads or came from a dad. I'm assuming most of you did.
Yeah, most of them.
It's debatable.
Uncle dads. And then we got this beautiful dad bod over here. Wishing a happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Woo! Yay me. But we are excited to have you here, and we mentioned it last week, but the biggest, well, it's debatable whether you want to call it the biggest video game expo anymore, but the E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo conference, just happened this past week, and we wanted to let Nintendo finish up this past Tuesday before we actually had a cast about this. And we are going to go through all the big announcements, all of the not big announcements. There was a lot of those. And we're going to give our 2 cents on them. But, Brian, how are you doing over there?
I'm hanging in there. Excuse me. Hanging in there. You know, I was excited to watch E3. I don't know why, but I was. And, yeah, it was all right. It was weird watching it all digital this time, but it worked. They made it work.
Yeah, and I think the digital aspect, I mean, again, coming out of the pandemic, or they say we're coming out of the pandemic, who really knows? But, you know, it's just not the same as having a live crowd, people reacting to the trailers, the excitement. It's a bit more stale.
Yeah.
It's a bit more stale.
A little bit, yeah. I don't know what they can do to make it better. We'll see, because I'm sure this is going to be a new, norm for them.
Oh, the new normal that everyone's throwing around. That new normal.
You know, it's going to save them money and trouble and all that other bullshit. So we'll see more of it.
All right, so before we get into the E3 coverage and announcements, let's talk about who was not at E3, which has become par for the course. You're the Sony guy in this podcast, so I'll let you talk about that a little bit. So they do their state of play now, correct?
Yeah, so I was going to say their state of play kind of is competition for E3, because I feel like a lot of people watch that just as much as E3. The problem with Sony is, and you know, I'm a Sony fan, but they're acting like the cool kids now. They don't need to be part of E3. They don't need to be part of all these other, you know, the video game awards and all this other shit.
Yep.
They're just doing their own thing now. More and more they're branching off from the community. And as we both know, video game communities are where it's at. That's how you grow. That's how you get an audience. That's what you need. And they're just completely branching off of it. So
on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say the odds are? Like 1 being like not at all likely and 10 being very likely.
Yeah.
That E3 is done in the next 5 years.
Oh, in the next 5 years? Ooh, I'd say 1 out of 10, 7.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm putting it, I was right around a 6 or a 7.
Yep.
I'm definitely leaning more towards that it's all done, because like you just said, Sony does their state of play. Microsoft is kind of doing their own things. We live in the digital age now, and the pandemic only put that even further to the forefront. And at this point, it's like, why are these companies, why share?
Yeah.
Why share when you can have your own individual conference and all of the big announcements that you make are front and center with everyone?
Absolutely. You're not competing with anybody. You don't have to share the stage per se. It just makes it more simple for them.
Don't get me wrong, like I love like the glory days of E3. Back when it was like the big three just going at each other.
Yeah.
Like there were so many great moments that, I mean, that would be maybe another podcast in and of itself down the road, like the greatest E3 moments of all time, because there's a lot of good ones, but E3 is now a shell of itself.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a stretch, and it makes sense. That's why Sony was like, you know what? Screw it. We're going to do our own thing.
Yeah, maybe they see the trees through the woods or whatever that fucking saying
Woods through the trees?
Yeah, and know that E3's on its way out. They're trying to, you know, cement themselves in the ground for a state of play.
All right, so let's talk about E3 and get into some of the announcements. So,
yeah.
First of all, right off the bat, why the fuck? Like, why does E3 need to be like 5 days?
I know.
Especially with a digital conference where most of this shit was like pre-recorded, pre-scripted. Why do you need like a full like 5 days of E3?
I could see the live events. Maybe you got to switch stages. You have to have the effects put up, that type of stuff. Even then, though, you could probably shorten it to 2 days. But with digital, I thought, I don't know why. I can't understand it.
Yeah, and it's so stupid. So like they kick things off with Ubisoft, and Ubisoft they came in with nothing super impressive in my mind. Honestly, I think the big announcement even before E3 hit was Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And I would even argue at the end of E3, Elden Ring was still one of the bigger announcements that we got.
Yeah, the fact that we got gameplay.
Yeah,
was probably the biggest thing.
Looked pretty badass, but so Ubisoft steps up to the plate on day one, and I think they whiffed, man.
Yeah.
So you had Rainbow Six Extraction, which I do kind of feel for them. They had to backpedal a bit because it was originally called Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Yeah.
That's like, ooh.
It looks good. It looks almost like a zombie Division, so I could definitely get into it, and I'll play it, but it wasn't one of those moments where you're like, oh, shit, yo.
Especially like after some of the other announcements that came, the next couple days, like Battlefield and things like that. I mean, this game just completely got buried.
Got buried in the chaos.
Far Cry 6.
Yeah.
We got to see more gameplay with that.
I like Far Cry, and I'll play it, but it's not anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool game.
Yeah.
It's cool, but it wasn't like, oh, wow. We've already seen like leaked footage and images, and we know.
Unless they break out like a whole new formula, new mechanics, new gameplay, which we know they won't. It's going to be the same engine and the same shit that the last 3 have been. Then it could be big, but already we saw the difference in graphics from when they first showed us to the actual gameplay.
Yeah.
And holy shit. I mean, it's not surprising at this point. It's happened for 3-4 years now?
Yep.
But yeah, after that, it's probably going to die.
So one of the sequel to one of the surprise hits from years ago that everyone was like, what? Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Yeah.
So we're getting a new Mario Rabbids game. Again, if you haven't checked it out on Nintendo Switch, excellent tactical game. If you've ever played the XCOM series or anything like that, you would definitely enjoy it. I was a big fan of the original. I played it, I beat it, and I mean, it looks cool. I'm excited for more of it. I mean,
I didn't even know about it, honestly.
Yeah.
When they were showing it, I'm like, a new Mario game, and yeah.
First, I thought it was a DLC, but then I'm like, no, it's a full-on new game. So we'll see if it has the charm and the gameplay of the first game, and they build on that.
Yeah,
it could be something.
Yeah.
And then the game that really nobody asked for about a movie that, as big as it was, nobody remembers it because it was just Fern Gully.
I'm
with blue people.
A rare fan of Avatar. I loved it, but I know it is one of the widely hated movies.
So if you had told me going into E3 that, dude, we are going to get an open world Avatar RPG game, I would be like, oh my God, yes! Avatar The Last Airbender, this is going to be amazing. No, but Avatar, like the blue people.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Aliens.
Nobody wants it. So it's called Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. You play as one of the Na'vi, and you're on the home planet and trying to, protect the unobtainium. Stupidest plot metal ever. Come on,
yeah,
dude.
Right? I'm just saying, if I can't have hair sex in it, then it's a fail from the beginning. If I can't be like...
Man, I might be on board if we can do that.
Yeah, if you can have hair sex, I'll play it. Honestly, it could have had the potential to be a good game. It's awesome with particle effects and shit nowadays.
Graphically, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, but it didn't. The trailer didn't strike a chord. It looked okay, and there wasn't anything that stuck out as like bad, but it just didn't hit either. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm just not a big fan of the Avatar universe. I never got why that. To me, it was like, it was visual porn.
Yeah.
Like when that movie came out, like visually it was stunning. It was absolutely stunning.
Right.
Nothing like that had ever been done. And you had people flocking to theaters, especially IMAX, just the visual spectacle of the film.
Right.
But then like not even that far after, people went, wow, like, it's pretty shallow. Like, the plot, the characters.
I mean, yeah.
I've said it to people all the time, like, to this day, you know, Avengers Endgame, I believe, finally beat it. Or it was Infinity War, one of the two. They may have both done it at this point because inflation, yay.
Right.
But, I mean, this was the biggest movie ever. And you would ask people, like, all right, it's the biggest movie ever. You've seen it. Can you name me, like, 2 characters in the film?
Yeah.
Like, their actual character names? And they couldn't.
Right. I can never name characters anyway unless it's horror, but the argument that it's like, oh, it's Ferngully, they ripped off Ferngully, it's bullshit. Dude, every movie that's ever been out is ripped off something else. So that argument is kind of a, you know, mute point. But I understand why people might not be all over it. But I loved it, and I'll see part 2, and I'll love part 2 too, because I am a graphics whore. I love when a movie looks good, and if you watch it on the big screen, it looks even better. So yeah, I'm into it.
Word. Well, that covers Ubisoft again. It was kind of a letdown. Nothing super huge. Day 2 hits, and this is where shit got good.
Yeah.
And you know, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know I'm an Xbox fanboy, but everything aside, Brian will agree with me. This was by far one of the better E3s I think Xbox has had in quite some time.
Yeah. And
they stole, I don't even think it was close. They were by far the best presentation of all of E3. And I forgot to do this drop too. Yeah, gotta start that Xbox up.
They also didn't have any competition, so we have to take that into effect. They didn't have Sony and Nintendo. We haven't talked about Nintendo yet, but we will.
We're gonna.
But yeah, you're right. And at least in the past 5 years, this is definitely a high point for their E3 conferences.
So, and one of the reasons I think it was such a high point and the reason it went so well is that Bethesda was literally interlocked with them.
Right.
Bethesda.
This was like an Xbox Bethesda.
It was even called that. It was Xbox and Bethesda event. And, you know, looking at it, they led off with, was it Todd Howard, I believe? The head of Bethesda?
Yeah, Todd Howard, yes.
So they started off with him front and center right at the beginning. Boom, Starfield, right off the bat.
They came out rocking out with their huge Xbox cock out.
Yeah, and everybody's been waiting for more Starfield info. When is Starfield coming out? We got some in-game footage. Again, it's footage. It wasn't gameplay.
Right.
But it looks pretty crisp. It looks cool. And we finally got a release date, November 11th, 2022. So at least there's a date on it. And available day 1 on Game Pass. And the other big thing, exclusive to
that
Xbox.
Was a big one.
This is an Xbox exclusive with, you know, Brian and I mentioned when the acquisition of Bethesda into Xbox happened, we were curious because Phil Spencer was like, you know, oh no, we want to play ball. We want these games to be on every console.
Yeah.
We were curious whether we were going to see the exclusivity start, and we're already seeing it.
Absolutely. And they did it on purpose. It was kind of like a fuck you. They came right out of the gate with a huge new Space Skyrim game exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to be. Like it or not, we're doing it. Even the head of Bethesda or somebody from Bethesda said, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Xbox wanted exclusives and they bought us out, and that's just the way it is. Sorry. You know.
Yeah, and at the same time, though, I mean, there's such a narrative that's been spun with this, too. Because if you look at Sony, you know, Sony and their exclusives, I mean,
right.
They're not playing ball.
Right.
Why would you? It is a competition to a degree.
In all fairness, though, they have built from the ground up studios for their exclusives for the most part. They didn't buy out, let's say, Ubisoft or Bethesda and say, hey, fuck you, all these games are coming out on our system, you know?
No, I know what you're saying.
But it is all fair as love and war. Again, Sony's doing it to themselves. They didn't want to play ball with Xbox at any point, really. And
Sony, just send us Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Send us Spider-Man. Send us a little God of War.
See, Spider-Man, I could see. God of War, fuck all y'all. That's our game.
Now, give me Spider-Man, then. I'd be happy with that. Mm-hmm. Stalker 2, the Heart of Chernobyl, is coming out April 28th. Yeah, Metro Exodus. Yeah. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
It looks cool graphically. I'll check it out. Back 4 Blood.
Yeah.
Day 1 Game Pass.
Yes, I'll
Big announcement.
Because I liked Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
And
it's a
this-
spiritual successor.
I was gonna say, yeah, successor to it. So
Yeah, it looks cool, and like you said, I mean, if I can get a crew to go bash some zombies,
hell yeah.
and it's on Game Pass day one, that's happening. Contraband. Did you see this trailer? If you haven't, it's weird. They fully cinematic. Didn't tell us
wait.
much about it, but it's a co-op like smuggling game.
Yes. Okay.
Set in the
looks
1970s.
Like Payday almost. Did you ever play
Yes.
Payday? So it looks kind of like that, except maybe more focused around, you know, the 70s era and shit like that. Payday was one of my favorite multiplayer games ever. So
Yeah, so we don't know too much about that yet, but hey, if it harkens back to Payday, it could be a payday.
oh,
Sea of Thieves. This was one of the announcements that I was like, what the
are they ever gonna let this game go? It failed.
Yeah, they're still pushing it, but now you got Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh yay!
So they're bringing it's called a Pirate's Life update.
I wish they
So-
would have brought Captain Crack Sparrow instead, because he's even funnier.
So yeah, they're bringing Pirates of the Caribbean into Sea of Thieves. It makes sense. I mean, but at the same time, I feel like the Pirates Caribbean popularity train
Has
or
kinda-
ship, the ship has literally
Yeah,
sailed.
it has sailed and sunk.
Yeah, I mean,
No, there's still some fans out there, but there's about a
there
dozen.
are dozens of
them.
us.
Yeah,
Dozens of
dozens
us.
of us.
So whatever, it is what it is. But this next one looked
Right.
fucking cool, man. Battlefield 2042.
Yes, dude, this is probably my most anticipated game because I played Battlefield 4 probably more than I've ever played a multiplayer game, except for, no, actually, yeah. And I've been waiting for them to go back to like modern future warfare. And this looks like just Battlefield 4 expanded into a new game. And I am so psyched.
Yeah, and actual gameplay in the trailer, which we finally, we got a lot of that in this conference. And before we talk about Battlefield, this is one of the things that I appreciated, and I know a lot of people did about this Xbox conference. It was all about the games.
Yes.
This was literally just game after game after game, actually showing gameplay. And like 90% of these games, it was like available day one on Game Pass, which is just another huge value if you're an Xbox consumer, because we don't have the first party games that Sony has.
I was waiting for them to be like console exclusive for a year. I was gonna break my 70-inch TV if they fucking dropped that shit. No!
But it looked badass, man. Like in-game gameplay. I mean,
Yes.
there's the crazy antics. There's tanks. There's jets. There's a giant tornado.
Dude, to this day, Battlefield 4 beats every COD as far as I'm concerned. And if they can keep that energy with all the vehicles and the huge conquest maps, they're gonna do just fine.
Psychonauts 2.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming.
I haven't
Day
played-
one on Game Pass. I love the original Psychonauts.
Looks interesting.
So I'll definitely check that out. More, again, speaking of games that failed, Fallout 76, Bethesda, just give up, man.
Give up.
Like nobody
It's embarrassing, dude.
wants to play Fallout 76. It's
No.
not good. That's not, people play a Fallout game because it is lone survivor,
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic. Like they don't want to jump into this
The formula
group.
wasn't gonna work even if your game wasn't broken. So give it up, dude.
But yeah, they're adding shit to the Brotherhood of Steel storyline, adding the pit. There are just a couple things they're adding to it, but I don't really care. And also Elder Scrolls Online, they're adding some more shit to that as well.
Yeah.
This next game is intriguing. Dude, Party Animals. Did you see this?
No, I missed this one.
Did you ever play Gang Beasts? Are you familiar with
Gang bang.
it?
What?
Gang
Gang bees? As
Gang
in-
Beasts.
No.
So
I can't say I
it
have.
reminds me of that a little bit, but goofy, just physics-based, like animal combat going through, and it just looks really, really goofy.
I think I've seen this trailer after the conference. I had gone by it in a YouTube video. And it looks like something for sure.
And again, day one of Game Pass, so I mean it's one of those games I probably wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
But again, having a 5-year-old son, we're probably gonna have a blast with this.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm looking forward to it. What I am so excited for this. Honestly, this announcement out of all of it made me jump out of my seat because it really is one of the. I don't even think it's not. I can say this truthfully. It is one of the best games I've ever played. Hades.
Yeah.
I played it on the Switch. It's been a
fucking
Switch
amazing.
exclusive for quite some time. It's coming to Xbox, and it's coming to Xbox Game Pass day one on August 13th. It's also coming to PlayStation.
I was hoping we'd get like the game and new DLC, but either way, yeah, it's
already the amount of content in the original game already is ridiculous. Again, even if you're not a fan of roguelike games, do yourself a favor. Play this goddamn game. Especially if you have Game Pass, you have nothing to lose anyway.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it's unbelievable.
So I don't even know if I finished it. I will say I got to Hades in like I don't know, a week maybe, because
Yep.
I couldn't stop playing it. I don't know if that's the actual end. I'm assuming it's supposed to be, but dude, I blew through this game, and
It is and it isn't.
yeah, exactly. So
I don't want to spoil anything.
So, for somebody who doesn't play roguelike games, I couldn't put it down. So, like he said, do yourself a favor and check it out.
Well, let's move on to the big one.
The biggest of them all.
We knew this was going to be dropping, and Halo Infinite, they didn't hold back. They showed us some of the single-player campaign gameplay. We got a huge multiplayer gameplay video compilation. It looks so much goddamn better than it did a year ago, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
My hype for this game died about a year ago.
Your hype's not infinite?
It's not. This game should be called Infinity, because if it ever comes out,
It's coming out
It's-
holiday this year.
it's tough for me because Halo 5 was not that good. And you're right, it looked better this time around, but to trust the fact that that's the actual game and we don't have a Far Cry 6 situation going on here, then good for them. But yeah, my faith for this game is a little wobbly.
Yeah, and it brought up some intriguing things. I mean, showing Master Chief in the solo campaign.
Yeah.
Thinking that Cortana was deleted, but now that may not be the case. So, I mean, storyline, I'll be jumping back in anyway. I've played all the other Halo games. I really enjoy them.
Right.
I grew up on, again, Halo Combat Evolved and Halo 2 and Halo 3. Ungodly amount of hours I spent on those. And
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I really hope that, I think this game getting delayed an entire year was the best thing that could have happened. And honestly, thank you, CD Projekt Red. We should let's give them some applause. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if it wasn't for CD Projekt Red completely fucking up Cyberpunk,
Yeah.
I think you'd have a lot more of these studios saying screw it and just pushing games out.
Yeah.
But Cyberpunk was such a disaster. We saw people pull back and say, all right, we need to actually release a finished game. And I can appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like they're calling it "Don't do the red now" in the back studios. Like, dude, you're gonna red the game, like break it because CD Projekt Red.
And then some other, quick announcements. Far Cry 6 got shown off again, but again, we already saw that during Ubisoft. Among Us, yay, 15-player lobbies. That game just will not die.
Dude. I get it. It was fun for a day, and now it's not. It's not cool anymore.
Grounded, which is another. I don't know if have you seen gameplay on this?
No.
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty much Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. They've got a new update coming out called Shroom and Doom. It's coming out on June 30th. So, and you go and fight the Brood Mother, which is a giant spider.
Okay, fuck that.
But yeah, so no, but
noping out of that.
what's awesome is they literally have an arachnophobia mode. You can put in the settings of the game.
Turns
and
it into Thomas the Train Engine.
That'd be awesome,
Right?
Choo choo. Actually, I got him in here. But no, if I played this game 100%, there's no way I could play it without that setting on. Because
Yeah.
I don't like me
So
spiders.
what do they turn it into then?
I don't know.
Huh.
Look, vet that for me. Look
The
it up.
game does look cool. I'm looking at the trailer now. It does look cool, for sure.
So a game that looks really cool and it's mysterious. We didn't get much of it. It's called 12 Minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a thriller type of game that I guess it's like a loop. It keeps repeating. You play.
A lot of loop games.
Yeah, so
coming out.
you play over 12 minutes of gameplay.
Oh, this
and
one.
a murder happens, and it's the same. It's like looping,
Yeah.
over and over again.
Daisy Ridley, James McAvoy,
Willem Dafoe. So like the voice acting is absolutely top tier. Comes out August 19th. I'm intrigued. We didn't see too much about it, but I'll check it out.
It looks maybe like a Heavy Rain type game.
One of my favorites was the Outer Worlds 2.
Mm-hmm.
That trailer was, whoever does like their coming out with like their announcement trailers, or whoever's doing that, give that person a raise, because it was fantastic. It just completely made fun of all of the. Did you see this trailer?
No.
Oh, you need to check it out. Like, it just completely made fun of pretty much everything else in this conference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Outer World looks good. I still need to play the first one, but
It's great. It's what Fallout should have been.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like something I would want to play.
So Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's coming out July 27th. Looks fantastic.
I saw a YouTube video the other day, and I think it was this game. Can you fly planes into other planes in this one?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because it was just some kid flying a plane, and all of a sudden you hear another kid in the background. He's like, "My name is Jar. I own a car." And
Oh my God.
Flies the plane down through the plane flying.
Holy shit.
And the timing was just on point, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, I need to play Flight Simulator.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Like the graphics, if you're on a nice 4K TV.
There's people who have like full fucking half domes to play
Absolutely.
this game. It's insane.
Yeah, it's in depth for sure. On to the game that stole the show, and in my opinion stole the conference.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 5. My God, it looks unbelievable.
It does, and it always does.
Yeah, I mean,
But it'll always be a racing game too, you know?
yeah, but they're adding so much content, so many different modes and different ways to play. It's set in Mexico. It comes out on November 9th. And again, Game Pass day one.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Which is huge, and it looks awesome.
It
That's
does.
all I can say. Like, if
I
you-
mean, the graphics are fucking out of this world.
yeah,
you know?
the way, Playground Games, they are one of the top tier studios right now under Microsoft's thumb, and I'm so excited because they're doing Fable.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
they're using this engine in Fable, and you've seen like driving around, like the photorealism that
Yeah.
they're getting.
How they're pulling it off is a trick of their own, but they're pulling it off.
Yeah, if they can implement some of that into the next Fable game, sign me up for sure.
Yeah.
Redfall. This is how they ended the conference, and this was the one thing that I think they kind of gaffed on a little bit. So they kind of did the whole, and one more thing. And every time that happens in one of these conferences, you're assuming, oh shit, here it is. Like, this is going to be like the announcement, something fucking huge.
NFL Blitz, yes!
Honestly, I would have been pumped. That would have been amazing.
I would have been even better off with NHL Blitz. Didn't they do one of those?
NHL hits, maybe?
Oh, maybe, yeah. But, yeah, that would have been
Dude,
better.
bring back Mutant League Hockey. That
Yeah.
was the shit.
Right?
Just kill the other team to win. So Redfall. So again, they brought Bethesda back out. This is a brand new original game from Bethesda, so it is exciting.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's a full-on co-op first-person shooter, and it's got vampires. So it's like a vamp, and they've got very kind of quirky characters that have some powers.
Yeah.
And it just looked generic to me. How did it look to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm rewatching it because I did see it the first time, but there's still nothing really jumping out at me from it. Not the, but one more thing type hook, you know?
Yeah, to me, this would have been better suited, like having it like mid-conference.
Yeah.
And I personally, I mean, Forza just looked so goddamn good. I would have left that, and by the way, one more thing.
Those vampires look fucking moronic, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to wait and see how
Looks
the
like
actual
a dog wearing a cone, so they can't lick his own balls.
And again, we got no gameplay. It was a complete just cinematic trailer. We
yeah.
don't know how the gameplay is going to go or look, but we'll see.
Yeah,
but then we literally got
interesting.
and by the way, there's one more thing.
I don't even know what to do with this.
It's Brian. It's time to Xbox and chill, bro. The Xbox Mini Fridge is coming this holiday season. If you haven't seen the trailer, it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah,
it
is.
literally looks exactly like an Xbox Series X. and it's a little mini fridge.
I mean, it's a good play on the joke.
Yeah.
Did they say how much it was going to cost?
They haven't given out a
I was going to
price.
say, if it's under $100, it could be cool. But even then, that's expensive.
It won't
but
be.
Yeah.
It won't be. I can guarantee you this will.
It's funny.
I'm going to say $149.99.
What would really be cool is an Xbox Series X that is also an Xbox fridge.
To me, it makes sense. I mean, you have internal cooling.
Yeah.
Xbox, get on that.
Get on it. But that was when I missed a good chunk of Xbox, and then I came back, and they're like, "Oh, and one more thing." I'm like, "Ooh, what's this?" It's a refrigerator. Okay.
So that covers everything that Xbox announced. Again, for the most part, I thought it was a solid conference by them, paired up with Bethesda. A lot of good announcements. Their
Yeah.
big thing was pretty much almost everything they announced is coming to Game Pass day one.
Unfortunately, I think the context of everybody else, it could have been better, but it was definitely the best of show, for sure. But, like, we didn't get anything groundbreaking, anything new, anything, that would change the game, which is what we all look for out of E3, or we used to.
Yeah, and again, we're still amidst a
Yeah.
studios coming out of the pandemic, and they admitted. I mean, there's the microchip shortage, which we're going to talk about in the Nintendo conference for sure,
Right.
because that affected some shit. But I mean, shit has been delayed, and I think Xbox and also to an extent Nintendo kind of wised up and realized, okay, we do need to somewhat pull in expectations in what we're doing here,
Yeah.
because they've been burned by that in the past.
Absolutely.
But Square Enix, they launched, and their conference hit, and I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a big Square Enix fan. I think they have a lot of good content,
Yeah.
a lot of good games, and it was just a snooze fest to me. They're coming up with a Black Panther expansion for Marvel's Avengers. Again, they showed Back for Blood again, which we had already seen. Oh no, that was Warner Brothers. But the big things in Square Enix, it was the Black Panther expansion, the Guardians of the Galaxy game, which is coming out, which looks similar to the Marvel games.
Yeah, it looks very flat. It just does not look good.
We got some Final Fantasy news, but like nothing that I wanted.
Yeah.
There was no Final Fantasy VII remake news.
Nope.
A lot of people were hoping that maybe it was coming to Xbox. That doesn't seem to be the case. And people were also waiting on, hey, we are working on the next Final Fantasy VII, like part 2.
Part deux.
And then also no Final Fantasy 16 news, which was a bummer. And instead we got like Final Fantasy like Dark Souls
Yeah.
style,
Right?
which I mean I'm a fan of, but I don't know. It didn't really strike my fancy. Maybe it'll be cool, but I don't know, man.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a really popular one, which just goes to show how much bad there was this year.
but the Marvel,
it was
like,
just very, very flat. Did
It
you see
looked like the
gunplay?
Avengers game a little bit more, and
Yeah.
it just that game sucked.
And the gunplay from Star-Lord, the things were just literally hitting the enemies and like disintegrating, like they couldn't finish the animation or something. I don't know. It was weird. I'm not excited for it.
No, I mean that whole conference was again like Ubisoft, like it just didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
And why again the E3 people listening? This does not need to be like a 4 to 5 day conference.
Negative.
You could do all of this within like 2 days tops.
Preach.
I know. So Warner Brothers again, they came out, they showed Back for Blood. That was about it.
Yeah.
So day 3 came out, and day 3, a day that literally did not need to happen.
Nope, did not.
It did not need to happen at all.
Unnecessary.
So you had Mythical Games with Blanco's Block Party. It's an open world multiplayer game. It's like literally a block party. Mm-hmm. The one cool thing is they're actually partnered up with Deadmau5 and Burberry. I'm a big Deadmau5 fan, so that's cool. They're going to push out music and content, but again, Mm-hmm. Capcom did their thing, and again, sucked. I mean, there was
DLC.
really nothing. There's DLC for Resident Evil
and it wasn't
Village.
even like there is DLC. They were just like, oh, we're getting started on DLC for Resident Evil. Unnecessary. Again.
They also touched on, they did the little PC thing. Razer announced as like a new gaming laptop coming out. It's uber expensive, which no one can afford, so I'm not even going to waste my time talking about it. But again, everything we just kind of skimmed over, like none of that needed a dedicated day.
No, not
or really.
really.
All of that shit could have just been like, hey, especially in a digital conference like this, it's going to be like, hey, here's the videos.
They could have stuck Razer, Square Enix, and Capcom all together on one day, and then some.
So let's finish things up with Nintendo, and this is how I feel about the Nintendo event. So
I don't blame you. You are the Nintendo fanboy out of the two of us, and I was disappointed for you.
So it was just, again, there's something about like, E3, and again, we're in our mid-30s, so I'm sorry, Brian. Are you in your mid-30s yet? I don't want to offend you over there.
No, obviously not. Haven't hit 30 yet. In my bra, maybe.
So we, again, not to have too much nostalgia, but I remember the E3s of old, so much hype, so many cool announcements, and Nintendo was one, it's Nintendo.
Oh, they're
Nintendo is just synonymous with hype and gaming, and they've been around forever. So many great properties, and you can't help but get excited. And there was so much shit going into this E3 conference that was teased that just did not come to be.
No fruition.
So we'll kind of jump through, and then I'll talk about some of the shit that didn't get announced that should have. So new Smash character, Kazuya from Tekken. Who gives a shit?
It was funny how he kept throwing characters into the volcano, but other than that, it wasn't.
And that was a
anything.
nod. That was a nod to the original Tekken.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's again, you're bringing in a fighter who's already in a fighting game. If I want to play as Kazuya, guess what? I'll go fire up Tekken.
Hell yeah.
I like Tekken. Tekken's a great game.
Right.
But I don't know, man. There's so many other characters that we've been waiting to get announced.
Like Batman.
Dude, yeah, bring Batman to the game.
Fucking Batman in.
Batman. Bring the Batwing.
The Batwing.
Life is Strange announcement. So
that's another one. Just like let it go. It's not Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, I played it. It's a cool game. I mean, Super Monkey Ball. Yay!
There we go. That's
I do like Super Monkey Ball, but I don't know, man. It was like a compilation of it.
But we also got Wario as well. I mean, whoa.
So, I mean, we got into some. Here's some of the better announcements. So, Mario Party Superstars. It's coming out October 29th. It's going to have a bunch of party maps, online multiplayer. So it looks like it's going to harken back to, because the Super Mario Party that came out on Switch, it sucked.
Yeah.
There was not nearly enough maps. The games were not that great. This looks like it's trying to fix a lot of that, so that's cool. And then all of a sudden they tease Metroid. And everyone's like, holy shit. Metroid Prime 4, here it comes. We're going to see the gameplay. Nope. Gotcha, bitch. It's Metroid Dread, which honestly, it still looks badass. This has been teased forever. But it's a 2D game like the original Super Metroid.
Are we not giving you a new Metroid, we're going back in time with the 2D.
Comes out this October, and I'll play it. I will play it. I'm a huge fan of the original Metroid, and more so Super Metroid on the SNES. And this harkens back to that with some 3D characters. So it looks cool. It does look cool.
Yep.
You already mentioned WarioWare. Wow. Yay.
Everything we needed.
The new Shin Megami Tensei, they hinted at that. That looks pretty cool, but again, this game has been hinted at for so goddamn long. It's like Halo Infinite. Like, is it actually going to come out this time?
Yeah, right.
This is what I was excited about. Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. So I'm a huge Advance Wars fan. Again, harkens back to, or I should say, XCOM harkens back to this.
Yeah.
But that, tactical type of gameplay, big fan of it. So I was excited about that. And then
there are literally dozens of you.
We're all waiting on Zelda news. It's the 35th anniversary of Zelda. Everyone's saying, okay, we're going to get So many Zelda announcements here. We're going to see, a bunch of Breath of the Wild 2. I bet they're going to announce, either HD or full-on remakes of, whether it's Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. The list goes on, and we got none of that. I mean, we got the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, it is what we'll get into that in a second. But their big announcement is they're coming out with a Game & Watch style little portable thing that has like the original Zeldas on it.
Yeah.
So the original Legend of Zelda, The Adventure of Link, Link to the Past. It's all going to be on like a little Game & Watch style thing that portable, you can bring it around. Who the hell wants that?
I don't know. They have smartwatches now.
I mean, I can play that shit on my phone. I can play,
yeah.
I can already play most of that on the Switch.
You don't need a portable watch to play these games.
So that really made me scratch my head. And then they mentioned Breath of the Wild 2, and it's not coming out until 2022.
Yeah.
Kind of a bummer. A lot of people were hoping it was coming out this year.
I had a feeling anyway, but yeah, I still held out hope it was coming out this year.
So we got to see some gameplay of it. I mean, the gameplay looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks good. They're going much more vertical with the game.
Yeah.
We see Link kind of falling through the sky. We see some new powers where he turns. It almost looks like he turns in like a blob, and he goes like up through like a mountain thing. And I don't know. It
looks interesting.
It looks cool. And I mean, again, it's using the same engine. They're able to fine tune it. The original Breath of the Wild was a masterpiece, so I will 100% play this game when it comes out.
Oh, definitely.
But some of the things they didn't announce. How the hell? Dude, the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
We talked about it leading up to this. There were multiple leaks, like for the past like almost a year.
Right.
And especially right before this event saying it's 100%, this is in the works. The Switch Pro, it's supposed to be a 4K Nintendo Switch console, higher frame rates. It will allow games to launch and look and play much better.
Yeah,
They were
as
even
they
mentioning
should.
potentially a new dock that would launch with it. A whole bunch of information, all this shit leaked, and then it never happened.
Nope.
And in the back of my mind, it has to be this microchip shortage that is affecting. Obviously, even now, it's like the freaking new consoles like Xbox and PlayStation, all that shit. They launched last fall. You still can't walk into a store and buy them.
It's bullshit.
Because of the pandemic, it affected all of this shit. And I think Nintendo realized, like, okay, why even attempt it when we know we can't get them out there?
Yeah, they're not confident enough yet to release any information about it.
And they're still, the Nintendo Switch and the Switch Lite, they're still selling like hotcakes. So it's like, why even?
Yep.
So I don't know. It was a bummer, though.
It was very disappointing. I thought we'd at least get like the teaser trailer, like coming summer of 2022 or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, and so that was a disappointment. And then to a further extent, I'll go back to Zelda for a minute. It's the 35th anniversary, and I just feel like they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't do that much. Their whole big announcement was pretty much the Game & Watch thing, which nobody, people will buy it because there's hardcore Zelda and hardcore Nintendo fans, but...
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Nintendo.
Would have liked to see some Ocarina of Time remake, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have been badass.
I mean, technically it's not too late. They may do a Nintendo Direct down the road and announce some more of that shit. But I don't know. It was a huge bummer. All in all, I think Nintendo just completely dropped the ball on this conference.
Yeah, very boring, very unexciting.
And like you said, it made the Xbox Bethesda conference by comparison seem amazing.
Yeah.
When realistically, I mean, they didn't have that much competition.
No.
Going
not
into
really.
this. But I still think, they did a pretty damn good job, especially saying, all right, boom, here's an hour of just literal gameplay and trailers.
They took the right
Go.
route. Yeah, they definitely did the right thing with what they did.
It wasn't TV, sports, TV.
And cable TV, and sports. So they held their own. They came out on top. Best of show was definitely Xbox out of all of it. Everything else was just meh.
So they also came out with the awards that they do at the end of E3 every year. Most anticipated game overall, which is usually a big one, is Forza Horizon 5.
Yep.
Xbox and Bethesda did get best presentation. What else was big? I mean, honestly, it was kind of weird too. Like they really super catered some of these awards to like each conference. I feel like to give like it's like you get a trophy.
Yeah,
you get a trophy.
You get a trophy.
Because I mean, to be honest, like a lot of these, if it wasn't specifically like Square Enix's best game in show,
right?
I feel like
best liquid cooler brand that goes into an 18,000 PC, like very specific. Yeah,
but I'm very much of the opinion that E3 is dying a slow death.
Unfortunately.
You know, I think if they want to get back to, unless Sony comes back on board, this shit's gonna die. And I don't think Sony's coming back on board. They're pretty cool doing their own thing.
Yeah, they're setting their ways.
You already see Xbox and Nintendo, they've already been doing their own events. So at what point do they say, why are we sharing the spotlight?
Yeah.
It makes no sense, especially if all of the big three are there, then it makes sense because then it's a battle against one another. But
yeah, it's competition. It's what makes it fun. Xbox is stepping out soon. You know they are. And then Nintendo, and then it's gone. That's it. Like you said, in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I give it about 5, and it's too bad because I always harken back to there were so many great like E3 just exciting moments.
Mm-hmm. This is how
over
you
the
share
years.
Games.
Oh yeah,
that
was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
and Sony responded to that so goddamn quickly.
Oh yeah.
But that's about it. Anything else? Do you want to talk about E3 related, Brian, that caught your eye, or
Not
any
really.
games, trailers?
Yeah. Like I said, that Outbreak game from Ubisoft is probably the only other thing besides the big ones we talked about that I'm interested in. But otherwise, it was just meh. Yeah, meh.
All right, well, it's been real. We'll be back next
Real
week.
boring.
Oh. So we'll be back next week, same time, same channel. You know where to find us. FandomAtRandom.com. We've got a fun episode next week.
We do.
Little hint: hop on Netflix, check out Bo Burnham Inside. Some good shit.
Everything you can find on the internet.
All of the time. Later.